the 90-minute laser focus rule. It's 8 a.m., Mojo, a 32-year-old freelance designer, makes a cup of coffee and sits at his desk. But instead of checking his messages or scrolling on Instagram, he does something strange. He sets a timer for 90 minutes and directly goes to the hardest mental task he has. No distractions are allowed. But why? Because our brain naturally works in 90-minute cycles called ultradian rhythms. In these cycles, your brain reaches peak alertness, creativity, and focus. Chess geniuses, Olympic athletes, even elite students work with this rhythm. Instead of grinding for 6 hours straight until he's destroyed, Mojo works in 90-minute games and then takes a 15-minute break. So what's the result? By noon, he gets more done than ever before in a full workday, and his brain feels like it's working at full power. Morning walk, a moving brain shower. After his first 90-minute session, Mojo goes outside. No headphones, just a 20-minute walk. Now, what does science say? When you walk, especially in nature, your brain enters a state called the default mode network, a semi-active mode that increases creativity, the same network that turns on when you daydream or generate ideas. But that's only part of the story. Walking increases blood flow to the brain, reduces stress hormones, and even increases the size of the hippocampus, the memory center of the brain. In simple language, a short walk is like a full massage for the brain. Think walking is laziness? Steve Jobs held his meetings while walking. Einstein walked every day to get ideas. Movement is intelligence in motion. Brain fuel, a different kind of energy than you think. It's noon. Mojo wants to eat lunch, but there's no greasy, heavy food that makes him feel sleepy afterward. He chooses foods that support neurotransmitters, the same chemicals that create mental clarity and a good mood. His favorite meal? Salmon packed with omega-3, a bowl of blueberries full of antioxidants, and a piece of dark chocolate for dessert. Yeah, chocolate increases blood flow to the brain too. But more important than what he eats is how he eats it. No phone, no scrolling. Just focus on the meal. Because when you multitask during eating, digestion gets disrupted, cortisol, the stress hormone, increases, and you even forget what you ate. By respecting his meal, Mojo gives his brain the nutrients and calm it needs for the second half of the day. Digital fasting, taming the dopamine demon. Around 3 p.m., Mojo does something many people are terrified of. He disconnects completely. No phone, no social media, no notifications. Do you know why? Because every ping, buzz, vibration, or like is a tiny shot of dopamine to your brain. First, it feels good, but when repeated too much, a broken loop forms. Less focus, more craving, and a brain constantly looking for the next reward, not deep thinking. By creating tech-free zones, Mojo is retraining his brain to enjoy silence again. That silence is exactly where deep thinking, problem-solving, and long-term memory are built. It's like turning down noise so you can finally hear the actual music. Curiosity hour. Feeding the inner child. Around 5 p.m., instead of collapsing onto the couch and watching Instagram, Mojo reads a book. Not a motivational book, not a productivity hack, just something he's genuinely curious about. Why? Because curiosity activates the brain's reward system, the same areas triggered by chocolate or money. Even more interesting, when you're curious, the brain learns better, even things unrelated to the topic. It doesn't matter what it is, a documentary, a podcast, a story, or diving into random knowledge on Wikipedia. Curiosity is like cardio training for the mind. It stretches the brain, helps it learn, and keeps it young. You don't stop learning because you get old. You get old because you stop learning.
Cold shower, a cool shock for the brain. At 6:30 p.m., Mojo gets into the shower. But not a warm, comfortable one, a cold shower. Wait, cold shower? Yeah, I know, it's hard as hell. But here's the reason. Short exposure to cold triggers a powerful effect on the brain. Cold activates norepinephrine, a chemical that boosts alertness, focus, and mood. It's like a natural pill with zero side effects. Also, cold showers build mental resilience. Your brain learns to stay calm in discomfort, which means better emotional control in daily life. Is it hard and unpleasant? Absolutely. But the feeling afterward is like charging your brain with a positive electric shock. Protecting sleep, where real growth happens. It's 10 p.m. Mojo is wrapping up his day. No screens, no scrolling, just a book, dim light, maybe a little journaling. Sleep isn't just rest, it's brain rebuilding. While you sleep, your brain cleans toxins, stabilizes memories, and builds new neural connections. If you sacrifice sleep, all the mental power you built during the day starts to fall apart. Mojo aims for 7 to 9 hours every night and treats it like a sacred ritual, because the most powerful habit for brain enhancement is the simplest one most people ignore. Your brain literally grows during sleep. Lose good sleep, lose your upgrade. Light exercise, movement that doesn't break the body. It's 7 p.m. Mojo doesn't go to the gym to destroy himself. Instead, he stretches, light yoga, or slow cycling with soft instrumental music. No screaming music, no wild guitars, no power show. Why? Because light movement increases BDNF, a protein like a magic potion for brain cell growth. It's not about working the body, it's about gently stimulating brain chemicals that increase creativity, mental flexibility, and good mood. Many people think only intense training helps, but the truth is, these slow, mindful movements sharpen the mind without exhausting the body. They pull the mind out of the fog, lower cortisol, and prepare the brain for thinking or learning. Mojo isn't chasing a six-pack, he's chasing clarity, and this method gives him that clarity. The Single Problem Journal, where the brain solves things in sleep. Before bed, Mojo opens his journal, but instead of writing emotions or dumping everything in his mind, he writes only about one unresolved problem from his day. No solutions, just the problem. It might be a creative block, a work decision, or a life crossroads. He just defines it and rewrites it slightly, then closes the notebook. This prepares his brain for a phenomenon called sleep processing. The brain continues working on unfinished problems even when you're asleep, and sometimes the answer hits you in the shower in the morning. Over time, this trains the brain to look for solutions instead of stressing, building strategic thinking, emotional distance from problems, and a quiet internal confidence, because solving problems becomes a muscle, not a panic reaction. The dopamine vision reminder, direction for the reward system. Every morning, Mojo looks at a small paper above his desk. It has only one sentence. His long-term goal, not daily tasks, not a to-do list, a vision. Why? Because your brain needs a North Star. Without it, your dopamine system collapses. You start chasing instant wins, scrolling aimlessly, and your brain seeks reward only for short pleasure, not real progress. This habit isn't about motivation. It's about regulating the brain's reward system. When you connect daily effort to a future goal, your brain begins to see effort itself as a reward, meaning the journey becomes enjoyable. And when your brain loves hard work, nothing can stop your progress. Mind dump. Clearing RAM before sleep. It's 9:30 p.m. Mojo is getting ready for bed. But first, he takes an empty notebook and writes down everything in his head. Shopping lists, worries, project ideas, messages he forgot to send. All of it quickly, with no order and no filter. Why? Because the brain isn't built to store tasks. It's built to solve them. When you hold unfinished tasks in your mind, you burn mental energy and create hidden anxiety. Psychologists call it the Zeigarnik effect. the brain's tendency to stay stuck on unfinished tasks. By doing a mind dump, Mojo tricks his brain into feeling everything is closed and complete. The result? Deeper sleep, less stress, and a fresh mind for tomorrow. Curiosity explosion, expanding the mind on a timer. Before going into his afternoon deep work session, Mojo sets a 5-minute timer and searches a random question he doesn't know the answer to. Like what? Why do cats purr? Where did money come from? How does memory actually work? Just 5 minutes. Not to become an expert, but to stimulate his brain. This habit keeps his mind agile in learning mode. It's not about knowledge. It's about mental flexibility. It's like stretching before training. It prepares the brain for multi-dimensional thinking, creativity, and embracing new ideas. And most important, it's a reminder of a golden principle. Being smart means staying curious, not knowing everything. Silent mornings, warming up the mind in quiet. Some days, Mojo starts his morning in complete silence. No talking, no messages, no calls. Why? Because silence isn't empty, it's preparation. The first hour of the day is when the prefrontal cortex, the brain's decision-making center, is just powering up. Silence gives it space to activate without interference. Monks do it. CEOs do it. Even Nikola Tesla swore that silent mornings were his source of mental clarity. In silence, Mojo doesn't feel emptiness. He feels sharpness. By 9 a.m., his mind is ahead of most people on the planet. Self-teaching trick, turning memory into mastery. Every night, Mojo picks one thing he learned that day and tries to explain it out loud as if teaching it to a child. Why? Because teaching forces the brain to organize, simplify, and truly understand information. This is called the Feynman technique, one of the strongest tools for real learning. Just reading isn't learning, but explaining in your own words makes the brain say, "Ah, now I get it." It only takes 5 minutes, but it transforms temporary information into intuitive understanding. Daily win, wiring the brain for progress. Right before sleep, Mojo asks himself one question. What did I do today that moved me one step forward? Not what I finished, not whether I did everything, just that one small thing that meant progress. This small shift makes his brain focus on progress, not perfection. And the difference is massive. Most people go to bed feeling behind, but Mojo goes to bed feeling forward. Over time, his brain links effort with reward, resulting in motivation that self-generates, even on the hardest days. Iron mind training, building willpower through strength. Twice a week, Mojo goes to the gym, not to become a bodybuilder, but to train his willpower. He does a short, focused workout with dumbbells, body weight, and compound movements. No show, no filming. But what he's building is deeper than muscle, mental discipline. Pushing through resistance teaches his brain to stay persistent. This training increases testosterone, focus, and releases brain repair chemicals like IGF-1. The result? Clearer thinking, better posture, and more confidence, even while still sweating. These workouts aren't about appearance. They're about teaching the brain one lesson. Discomfort equals growth. And the beauty is, this mindset stays long after the weights are back on the floor. Meditation, where thoughts go quiet. Every morning, before his hand touches his phone, Mojo sits cross-legged on the floor, closes his eyes, and just breathes. That's it. No mantra, no apps, just silence, breathing, and attention. This is his 10-minute daily meditation. Not to open chakras, not to chase feelings, just watching thoughts move like leaves on water. Meditation isn't emptying the mind. It's seeing the mind without reacting. That tiny space between stimulus and response, that's exactly where mental power lives. Studies show meditation increases physical growth of the prefrontal cortex and shrinks the amygdala, the center of fear and emotional reactivity. The result? More calm, more focus, less reactivity. For Mojo, meditation isn't a habit, it's mental hygiene. Just as brushing your teeth cleans your mouth, meditation cleans mental noise, so the brain is clear and ready before the day begins. The Gratitude Shock Notebook, closing the day with light. At 10:45 p.m., After brushing his teeth and turning off the screens, Mojo takes out an old notebook and writes 3 things he was grateful for today. Some days they are deep, some days it's just a good coffee or sunlight on his face during the morning walk. Why? Because gratitude doesn't just feel good, it rewires the brain. It helps your mind focus on what's good, lowers stress, increases serotonin, and even improves sleep quality. Most importantly, it trains the brain to look for success, not problems. The inner language shifts from what's missing to what's working. And when the brain learns to celebrate small wins, those small wins turn into big growth. The power nap, refueling the brain. Between 1 and 2 p.m., when his focus starts to drop, Mojo, unlike most people, doesn't force himself to push through. He sets a 20-minute timer, lies down on the couch, and closes his eyes. No notifications, no alarms, no distractions. He isn't being lazy, he's recharging his brain. A short nap, done correctly, doesn't ruin nighttime sleep. It improves it. It enhances memory consolidation, increases alertness, and even regulates emotions. Mojo wakes up sharper, calmer, and more ready than before, because sometimes the smartest move is rest. Social interaction, brain chemistry through connection. Every day, no matter how busy he is, Mojo sets time for real human connection. Not texting, not voice messages, not chatting. Face-to-face interaction. Sometimes a coffee with a friend, sometimes a walk with a colleague. No special purpose, just being present. Why? Because the oxytocin released during genuine human connection works like lubricant for the brain, reducing anxiety, improving memory, and enhancing speech and communication ability. More importantly, it keeps Mojo human in a fast digital world. Connection is the glue that keeps the inner world from falling apart. Sunlight, natural brain charger. Every morning, rain, sun, or storm. Within the first 30 minutes after waking, Mojo goes outside, not to exercise, not to work, just to stand under sunlight. Why? Because natural morning light signals the brain. Day has started. Wake up. This increases serotonin, regulates circadian rhythm, and improves melatonin production at night, meaning deeper, more regular, and more effective sleep. Sunlight is a natural alarm, a mood booster, and a brain charger, all in one. Even 5 minutes is enough. Mojo just lets the light hit his face, takes a deep breath, and gives his brain what it truly needs: rhythm and light. Now it's your turn. If you already do any of these habits, or if you have another method to strengthen the brain, write it in the comments. Say which one was most interesting to you and which you'll use. And now, if you struggle with self-discipline, overthink, and daydream all day, your next step is to watch this video.